And were there any things from those books or things that your mentor gave you that you kind of can remember from a few years back and went, that's a good one. That one resonated for me then, still does today. Is there anything that you can remember from that first year?
Absolutely, absolutely. I think, and shoot, it's in the title. Talent is overrated. I think that was something that I was. You show up to San Diego State, a big D1 football program from Anchorage, Alaska, where I was the biggest lineman in the state at 230 maybe. Okay, that's an overreach. I wasn't the biggest lineman in the state, but I was one of the bigger guys. And then all of a sudden, everybody is 6'5", 315, trying to really not get lost in result-oriented thinking or just things that aren't process-oriented at all, and being locked in at how you work and how deliberate you are in your process. That was something that stood out then, and that stood out now. I know you want to get into it later about what I'm doing now. I'm transitioning from pro football to now, so that stood out now. And another one is I'm in a book club with a couple of buddies, some of the same guys I road tripped with that I mentioned earlier, and we're reading The Four Agreements by Don Miguel Ruiz, and one of the many themes in there is progress, not perfection. That was in every book I read. And shoot, maybe I think I've heard you guys say it too recently. That comes back almost daily for me because I get lost in the minutia.
And
It sounds really cliche when people ask me, like, how did you find success, in high school and college and beyond? And it's just reading those books. I was lucky enough to have a great mentor, obviously a great family situation, mom and dad always supporting me. But having that one voice that wasn't, my folks to say, hey, this is the way. And I'm so blessed to have had that influence in my life and the follow through too, to read the books and then apply the principles. But yeah, for everybody, it's beyond sport. Staying process oriented is the way to go.
I love that. And here, and even to tie it back to us at Headset, that's what we talk about, right? So use a program, 5 minutes a day, 10 minutes a day, just crush them for that short period of time, and then you're good. Apply the principle in practice, go on to the next one, right? And the same thing for whatever content you can find that works for you, dig into it, and then figure out a way to apply it. And that goes from when you played, for people who play today. I think that's amazing.
Happen along the way there. Another one that stands out in my mind is having really the pro prospects start coming out of the woodwork once I was identified as, a pro prospect, being invited to the Senior Bowl, the premier college football all-star game, the NFLPA Bowl, having agents approach you, which is legal for any youth football athletes out there. You can talk with agents, you just cannot agree written or verbally to any compensation prior to finishing your college football experience. But that was the next biggest challenge in my mind, because that was the fastest thing to flip from what we talked about earlier with being process to result oriented. As all of a sudden there's this carrot now. You're an amateur, you're playing, you're with your boys, school's taken care of, luckily being on scholarship, food and lodging is taken care of. You get to just go be a kid, go play, and then all of a sudden there's that right around the bend. That was the tough bit for me to be able to snap out of it and say, hey, don't change nothing, be who you are as a person and as an athlete, and continue on your process goals. Because once that little shine was in front of you, that was difficult to come back to really play for the same reasons maybe.
But I'm going to bring it back to just what you said in regards to when you left home to come to San Diego State. Like, you're going into a new environment, everything is new. Hey, those people at SD State were the best right there. And now you're going to a higher level where those guys are the best of the best. And remember my days too. It's like, what these people are really good, but now it's time to be able to kind of prove,
Mm-hmm.
right, that I am making my way, right? And it's what I like what you did is like, okay, now I got to come in and perform,
Mm-hmm.
right? And having a plan to be able to perform is pretty important. It sounds like, but it sounds like it's 4 years later, but the process, even though it's different, is kind of the same again in regards to your mental process.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, very, very much so. And that's I had a coach coming out. Michael Husted was kicked for the Bucks. I believe he's the all-time, if not one of the all-time leading scorers for the Bucks. I mean, pretty blatantly just sat me down. I was like, dude, be coachable, but don't change. What you've done has worked. You're here for a reason. Don't change anything. You don't have to go be a superstar. Play within yourself. And again, he did emphasize being coachable and being adaptable. But for the most part, don't overreach. Play within yourself. That was an important message to hear.
Yeah. If there is one or two in regards to from the workouts to the travel, what would you say would be for it could be your position or just the sport itself, the most important or one of the most important that an athlete should work on or you had to work on?
Tell me if this doesn't answer your question, but to me, it's process. And I know we've said it at every step here, every transition, but with things being uncertain, and that applies to sport, where I was in my sport, and certainly times now globally, is having a process, having something to lean on when you have nothing else to lean on, knowing your goals, the way that you have to position your body, the result oriented goal. That is what I leaned on, and I had a process for traveling. I was trying to get to bed at 8 because I knew a call was coming, or I was expecting a call was going to come from the East Coast because it's a physical game. Guys get hurt.
Yeah.
Trying to go to bed early, having a bag packed, having a contingency plan to get to the airport, and then obviously nutritionally getting some water in. But most importantly, when you get on the field, knowing how you need to position your body to perform well and having process goals every step of the way, because that's what it comes down to. Is what you have to lean on when there's nothing else.
That's lovely. A question for you. Again, one of our favorites, Garage 36. Did you ever get injured, and how did you mentally get back?
Man, I was very fortunate, incredibly fortunate. No major injuries, no bones, no ligaments, nothing. I'm happy I'm not really in a position to answer this question for you, but I obviously bumps and bruises, a little bit of tendonitis, and that's tough. That adds up, and that's what I'm really excited about the prospect and the intervention of headset for youth athletes, masters athletes, you name it, beyond performance psych is beyond athletics. But that really they add up. Little bumps and bruises, it takes a toll. It's mental energy, it's mental resources to have to manage that, go into the training room, get some ice, get some heat. It adds up, and it's another thing that you just have to be prepared for. And that's what I think. There's a tremendous possible intervention with headset and having some sort of metric of measuring injury and how to get better with it, because we're going to have to measure